Greetings all, it's Mark here, and we're going to have a look at the Memsie Stakes, the first Group 1 of the season for Victoria, and I'm joined by Trevor Lawson. How are you, Trev?
Good, Mark.
Yeah, well, as I said, first Group 1 of the year, over 1,400 metres at Caulfield. I guess the first question is, the track. Been interesting over the last few weeks. I'm tipping we'll see a slightly better track this Saturday than we did at Moonee
It'll be
Valley.
a little bit different to last Saturday.
Yeah. So you'll walk it on Thursday afternoon. You won't have yet, I've assumed.
No, so I'll look at it Friday morning. It's got better each day. So they posted as a 5 this morning. They're generally conservative. The big issue, the track, they all hate having tracks downgraded on themselves, so they always tend to be rather conservative with the ratings. So a lot of times they're a lot better than they give out. So I think there's some chance that we could get some rain tonight. It'll just sort of be hit and miss, I suppose. So, but I would think the track will be, depending if we get rain or not, between a 4 and a 5. If we don't get much, it'll be closer to a 4, on the way to sort of a good track. It should be pretty good racing.
So
there's a strong wind.
Sorry?
I was saying there's a strong wind blowing today, so the track will be dry now. Even more. So, and a bit of sunshine today, which we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, so we're over the 1,400 metres. That particular course at Caulfield, in general, what to look out for from the gates?
Rail true. Generally, you're just looking for on pace, horses up on the pace. This is a big field, 15 horses, few horses resuming. I would say it'd be genuinely run. I wouldn't want to be getting all the way back to last, but if you're sort of drawn wide and you sort of got wide with a trail, it wouldn't be too bad. So the map is...
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've got the map there, we'll have a look at it.
So there's the map. So Be Good to Your Mother will lead from the inside. Glenfiddich's got some pace. Sabatiano will push forward. Gadding may push forward. Streets of Avalon's drawn 15, so he'll come across. So depending on how hard he has to work will determine sort of how quick they go. If he crosses Glenfiddich and Sabatiano straight away, then they'll basically sit up and won't go that hard. But if he has to do some work, sort of around to the sort of 900 metre mark, the pace will be generally run. Mystic Journey sits off the speed. Behemoth will be sort of 3 back the fence probably at the best. Mr. Quickie sort of back with it. Acadia Queen's drawn wide. Thought if it half pressed for at the start, it could get sort of 3 wide with the trail. Regal Power probably goes back. Cascadian probably goes back. But, I think it'll be probably genuinely run.
In terms of lead up, so got a lot of them are coming out of the Group 2, the PB Lawrence a couple of weeks ago, plus a few first up.
Yeah, so the track the other day, it was officially as slow as 6. I sort of called it a 5, but it was probably between a 5 and a 6. There was a few disappointing runs in the race. So it'd be interesting to see whether they can sort of jump back on a dry track.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we might run through them. I've got the prices here with from TopSport, so I might just run through and get your thoughts on each runner if you think they've got a chance. So the top is number 1, Regal Power, which is $15 with TopSport at the moment, the All-Star Mile winner.
Yeah. So I haven't put any barrier penalties. I just tend not to do those until after the scratchings.
Yep.
So at the moment, I've got it around the $15 mark. I doubt I'll mark it any shorter. I might mark it longer, depending after walking the track. Face value, it was disappointing first up. It sort of sat back with a trail and got beat 6.2 lengths. First, which was pretty low. You can see sort of my figures here. basically since March 2019, it's never gone that bad.
Mm.
So, won the All-Star Mile here, returning 64.5, which is quite a high figure on my scale. The other day I got it going 54, which is sort of like 6.5 lengths under.
Yeah, it's a long way back, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've sort of put it in at 61, and we'll just see how it goes. And it's for several runners in this race. On their first up runs, it's D-Day, it's won, but its previous form was pretty good, so I don't sort of want to bag it too much.
No worries. Number 2's Harlem, $101.
Resume. Yeah, 9-year-old resuming, and I didn't like it at all.
Fair enough. 3 is Gadding, $51 with TopSport.
It's an interesting horse. It won the Maccabi Diva in like nearly a year ago, producing a massive figure when it was $118 on Betfair.
Yeah.
And then it sort of basically that busted it for the whole prep. And then it went back to Perth. This time in, it hasn't really gone fantastically. Interestingly, it's changed hands, now it's gone to Peter Moody. So it hasn't raced for 77 days. And Moody hasn't jumped it out, which is interesting because most of his horses jump out at Pakenham, and it hasn't had a jump out. It's a bit of a guess. It was okay 2 starts ago at Belmont. Jockey sort of looked to get a little bit lost. On my scale, it returned 58. I've rated it 59.5. Got a 44 to 1. Don't really want to be on it, and it would shock me if it won.
All right, so 4 Socie Bond, which is $26 at the moment with TopSport.
Yeah, it ran honestly. It's sort of been quite consistent. I've sort of just rated it up slightly on what it did first up, so I've rated it sort of 60.5, and basically it's a sort of 61.5 horse at a mile. This is second up, 1,400 off a gap, so I've got it sort of 20 to 1 chance.
5's Streets of Avalon, which is $18 with TopSport.
It was good first up, and then the other day went forwards outside the leader and dropped out. May have been a bit too wet for it. So I've just let it return its first up figure. It's going to have to do a bit of work from the barrier. At the moment, I've got it $21. I'll probably mark it slightly longer than that.
Sure. Number 6 is Mr. Quickie, $26 with TopSport.
It's an interesting horse, this. He's actually quite a good horse. So last year, he resumed first up as a 3-year-old over 1,400, and then virtually this time, well, in 2 weeks' time, a year ago, he resumed in the Maccabi Diva and ran on from last in that fast run race, produced a peak figure. He then sort of didn't have any luck in the Caulfield Cup. Then they resumed him in the All-Star Mile. So like where all the other horses were sort of going well and fit, and they resumed him. So he sort of didn't come up. My scale, he's 60, 61. He's at a peak of 63.5. He's trolled up nice for this. He's had 3 jump outs leading into it. So I've put him in at 60.5. And got him 20 to 1. He'll probably get back on the inside. So, he's something you could sort of, if he was $20 plus, you could have something on him.
No worries. Number 7's Behemoth, which is our favourite, although it looks to maybe just have drifted a touch. $4.20 with TopSport at the moment.
It was good first up. I beat Dallas Sun. But he sort of settled in the running line. He sort of had some other figures where he's sort of, I've got that a peak figure, but sometimes my Adelaide stuff's not not 100% confident with it. So I'm happy using that figure. I doubt he'd improve off that. Williams goes on, which you'd think would probably be a positive, but he's drawn like barrier 2 and he doesn't have much speed. You can see here in positions in run, he's never really settled very close. He tends to settle in the second half of the field.
Yeah,
So
I think on the map you had him back inside, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got him 3 back defence.
Mm.
Might be 4 back defence depending on if a couple others out wide get crossed. So I think he's going to be in some traffic, and I think, I can't see him improving off the other day, put it that way. So, I've got him $8. I wouldn't want to mark him any shorter.
No worries. Number 8 is Iconoclasm, $41 with TopSport.
Yeah, I thought it was outclassed. Probably wants more racing.
Yeah. Number 9 for Godolphin's Cascadian, which is $12.
It was good first up. It settled back, and of all those horses that were that got back in the field and didn't run on, it was the one that did run on. It ran the quickest last 400 of the day. It ran the third quickest last 200 of the day. So it made good ground from last. This time probably won't get as far back. It'll have a few behind it. And it's good at first 1400. The figure it returned, first up, it can actually do better than that figure. So I've actually rated it to its best. Oliver stays on, and I've marked it $11, which $12.
Mm. 10s Be Good to Your Mother, $17.
It's the leader in the race. It was okay first up. I stepped it off that figure and, a length, which is sort of what I do, and rated it sort of 60. It has done 61s, but they were sort of 2 and 3 preps ago. The trainer hasn't trained many winners at all this year. I probably got something on the sleeve and could mark it slightly shorter, but I'm sort of just happy with it at the moment. At the moment, I got it $29.
No worries. 11's Mystic Journey, which looks like there's just been a touch of money for, into $9 with TopSport.
Okay, at the moment, I sort of have another think about this horse. I thought she was pretty plain first up.
Yeah.
She's a horse sort of, I've been in love with her for a long time. I think we backed her at Moonee Valley, Cox Plate Day 2 years ago, something like that. So it's been a good horse. I thought it was disappointing. Sort of got 3 wide with a trail and never ran on at all.
Mm.
The market sort of expected it to return a figure of 62, and it returned 55.5. So it's rated sort of 4. Basically the market thought it would just win the race.
Mm.
It can do 61s and 63s. I didn't know what to do with it. At the moment, I've got it in at, I put it in at 58.5. Thought it was pretty plain. So I basically rated it 2 lengths better than what I did the other day. Got a 44-1. I could mark it a lot shorter, but I was sort of just happy to watch it and see if it does produce something. And you sort of know after this, he sort of missed the boat with it. He sort of wanted to run it in the Cox Plate last year.
Yeah.
And then he gave it 1 run in the autumn, which it did fantastic, and it's had another run. So basically it's had 2 runs since Cox Plate Day last year. So, jury's out with it. It was one I'd sort of happy to risk this time round, and, if it beats me, well then, so be it.
Fair enough. 12 is Arcadia Queen, another one in the market at $6.50 with TopSport.
It's another one. Like it was pretty ordinary as well. It basically had a pretty good run. The race settled 4 to midfield and plotted. Got beat 2.5 lengths. Was first up for 287 days. It's had good figures before. They kept saying in the press that it wasn't that well forward. I've stepped it off that rating, but can do a lot better. But I just thought maybe it just might want more runs. So he was another one I was sort of happy to risk. I marked at $15, and a bit like Mystic Journey. If you like to back mares that are in form and have run well. I'm not sure I'll be having a bet in the race anyway, but I'm happy to have both those run against me. And if they win, well then you can use that rating from that they return to go forward, so you might get something back out of them. But at the moment, I'm happy to risk them.
Yeah, she had. It would have been a 3-year-old year. She had those big figures over in Perth, I think. And
she
and then had the
produced.
Sydney
Like
trip last year.
Yeah,
she didn't really quite get back to that level.
Yeah, so get some figures off Cam. Like she won the Group 1 at Ascot, returned 65. Then she won first up at Rose Hill, returned 65. And then I think she was going to she went to the Everest.
She went to the Everest in the Golden Eagle.
Got busted there and then went to the, whatever they call it, the Golden Eagle or whatever it is. And that busted it again. So,
it was a funny prep because her best was sort of up, a mile 1800, and they wound her back for the Everest. And
also it's just sometimes those Perth horses don't run as well in the Eastern States for whatever reason. So.
13 was Sabatiano, which won the PB Lawrence the other day.
Well, it's just it's sort of the one, like it did its figure. It sat behind the leader. This time on the map, it's probably going to cop the 1-1. It's good. It's, last prep at 1 second up. This time last year, it 1 second up. It ran second off a short break in the autumn, second up. It beat all those horses the other day, and there's every chance it's going to settle in front of them again. And so I just thought it was the horse to beat. It's sort of no star, but I got around the $5.50 mark.
Yep. So 14 is Princess Jenny, $41 with TopSport.
Yeah, I thought it was outclassed. Probably wait for it to turn up at Moonee Valley over a mile. That'll be its day.
No worries. And at the bottom is 15 Glen Fiddick, another one for Peter Moody, and it's $10 with TopSport.
Yeah, this is an interesting runner. It's a 3-year-old. I think I saw one of the shows. I think a 3-year-old's won for 40 years or 45 years or something.
Right.
This horse was formerly trained by Robbie Griffiths, who and now goes to Peter Moody. So I'd suggest there's every chance it could improve. It ran okay over shorter distances. It was a terrific win at Mornington. And I think it was a Mornington Guineas, Mornington Cup Day. And then it went to Randwick and ran second in the Champagne over a mile. So I've sort of got it peaking there at 56, just with the new trainer, and it just looks to me like it's intent. He's got his gear changes on here, Moody. I think if you notice in the gear changes, Moody, he loves putting a nose roll on his horses.
Yep.
He has a terrific record. He's also have a terrific record when they get a nose roll on the first time. So it just looks an intent. So I've rated it above a figure that hasn't done, but I think there's every chance it could with the new trainer and the gear changes. And, I've got it $12.
No worries. All right. Well, so we've run through the prices. 124% there at the moment. So that'll come in a bit by race time. As I said, it's Thursday afternoon we're recording. So you've still got a few around the mark there, though. So I'd say you'll find a bit of value on the day.
Yeah, I think, Glen Fiddick's around the mark. Sabatiano's around the mark. I'm happy to risk sort of Arcadia Queen, Mystic Journey. Cascadian's around the mark. I was happy to risk Behemoth at the price. And maybe Regal Power sort of overs at $17.
Stuff.
I think it'll be a good race, and we've got good conditions to watch it in. So the good thing will be is you'll be able to get some lines on going forward. So I think the whole meeting should be terrific. It'll be a good meeting to review, and hopefully we get plenty of winners out of it.
Good stuff. Yeah, as you said, it's the it's the first of the Group 1s in Melbourne, and we'll catch up throughout the throughout the carnival and get your thoughts on all the Group 1. So we'll chat again then.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers.